What's up, YouTube? It's Eric, a Lions fan. I appreciate you checking out my video. Today's going to kind of be a 2016 Detroit Lions preview. Now, I use that term preview very, very conservatively because as a Detroit Lions fan, it's just my preview. It's not an official preview like some of the beat writers do, like Tim Twentyman, Michael Hara, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Any of those type of people, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be very, very conservative and really not really well constructed and all that. This just comes from a fan's perspective for me. So the Detroit Lions are getting ready to do their first preseason game. They're going to be at Heinz Field against Pittsburgh on Friday, August 12th. That comes in at 7:30. Looking it up right here on the website. I'm actually kind of ready to start watching some football. I'll admit I don't want to say I'm necessarily excited for the season to happen because I don't necessarily think with Calvin Johnson being gone, the Detroit Lions are going to do much. Now, they didn't necessarily do much even when he was here, but they may get better. I just don't know. I'm being a little bit pessimistic because one of our superstars isn't in the game anymore. And he could have been a game changer. But I understand why he retired and all that. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other video for another time. Probably I won't make that one. But I understand why he did it, and I respect his decision. But anyway, I'm ready to see how these rookies are going to do even in the preseason. I'm ready to see what Rudolph's going to do, what Decker's going to do, A'Shawn Robinson, Graham Glasgow, Miles Killebrew, that's the one I really want to watch and see how he does. He's out of Southern Utah. Dahl from Washington State. Dwayne Washington from University of Washington. I want to see how these guys perform in-game situations at the pro level. I hope these guys get a good amount of attention. I hope that the coaching staff just doesn't throw them off to the wayside like they've done. I don't want to say they've done in previous seasons, but it seems like if they don't necessarily pan out within the first game, they kind of just throw them by the wayside. And maybe that's how the pros do it. That's pretty cutthroat. If you're not performing, you're going to end up getting cut pretty quick. But I hope these guys get a fair shot, a fair deal. So I'm ready to see what these guys are going to do, just to see how they're going to perform, if they're going to fall flat on their face, if they look like they could contribute. I don't necessarily know. Now, I haven't been following training camp hardly at all. I mean, I've kind of have been here and there, but nothing to really report on from a fan's perspective. It just seems to be normal training camp, stuff like that happening. I do want to go through this kind of the schedule with you, at least for the preseason. And then when that's done, we'll go through the whole entire season coming up probably around the first part of September. Like I said, they're going to play against Pittsburgh at Heinz Field on Friday, August 12th. They're going to be broadcast on Fox 2 out of Detroit. Usually Fox 47 in Lansing and Fox 17 in Grand Rapids will usually play those games. And if not, they'll replay those games on Sunday, which has been the norm. I think the last 2 years they've done that, which I kind of like that. If I kind of miss the game on Friday, I can watch it on Sunday. And they usually do that with all the preseason games, so I hope they continue that trend. The next game is against Cincinnati at home, Thursday, August 18th at 7:30. And then the third week of preseason, they're at Baltimore, Saturday, August 27th. That's at 7 o'clock. That is not 7:30. And then the last game is at home against Buffalo on Thursday, September 1st. So we should get a good idea of who's going to make it, who's not going to make it, and what the team is kind of necessarily going to look like leading up to the very first game. They got to go to Indianapolis on Sunday, September 11th at 4:25. And I'm sure there's going to be a big ceremony for September 11th, all that happening in the first game of the season. So kind of looking forward to the Lions, how well they're going to do. And I wasn't necessarily going to do this for this video, but I think I am actually going to do this. Matthew Stafford is coming up on his contract. I think this is a contract year for him. I could be wrong. I got to look that up, but it's getting, if not, it's getting pretty close. I think they're within 2 years at the most. This is the time for Matthew Stafford to step up. I know his offensive line play hasn't been great. The wide receiver core has not been great. He hasn't gotten much help from his running backs, although the running backs are directly, I don't want to say directly responsible, but their performance is directly responsible to the offensive line. The defense hasn't been necessarily the greatest, although they have improved last year, I will admit. They made a big stride there, but there needs to be more improvement there. So, I don't know. First impressions on what they've got and maybe who's going to stay, and this is going on just off blind here. I'm guessing it's probably going to end up being another 7-9 season. That's just my own personal opinion. I want to see games first. I take that record very, very loosely because that's only on who they drafted and who's going to stay and who's not. I wouldn't take that very seriously, is what I'm getting at. 7-9 seems to be a pretty safe pick, right around 500. It'd be a losing season. It wouldn't make playoffs. I want to see Detroit make some strides. I think this is a stride for them to make the playoffs. I'm not saying they need to make the NFC Championship game by any means, but I expect them to get into the playoffs, and they don't necessarily have to win on the playoffs. They just a good performance from them would mean big things for the Lions. Going off of that theme, Stephen Tullock got cut from the Lions after being out for ankle surgery. I think that was pretty shitty of the Lions to do that just after his ankle surgery to say, hey, man, you're cut. Now, I don't know the whole entire details of that. It could be they maybe came to an agreement that says, hey, you're going to be owed this much money if you go to here. And maybe he asked them to do that in return for some other things. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that just after getting out of surgery and then the Lions cut him. There has to have been some agreement that happened there. If not, the Detroit Lions that's a really shitty move by him. And kind of going off of the playoff theme, at some point this season, I think I heard sometime in mid-October, they're going to do a 25th anniversary celebration of the 1991 playoff team that won, and it's only their first playoff win in the modern Super Bowl era, or at least in the playoff era. I don't know. I think it's a slap in the face to every Lions fan, and it should be a slap in the face to any NFL fan. It's the kind of the same old Lions phrase throughout this whole entire organization that they would do something stupid like this. I don't know why they feel the need to celebrate that team. It didn't really win anything. They kicked the crap out of Dallas, and then they end up losing 41-10 to Washington that following week in the NFC Championship game, which I watched that. That was very demoralizing to me because I wasn't necessarily saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I was thinking they must have learned from their last game where they got pounded on, and they didn't learn from their mistakes. So, at least in that game they didn't. I can't remember the whole highlights. It's been since 91, and it's 2016 now. It's been 25 years ago. I'm not going to remember that unless I go on YouTube and look at the highlights. But anyway, I don't necessarily agree with that. I guess there's going to be a banner put up. I'm at a loss for words for why they would even think about doing that. I think that's very crappy of them. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry this video sucks. I didn't really do a whole lot of investigation work on this one. I just kind of wanted to get something out because I haven't done very many Detroit Lions videos. And I'll be honest, I'm really not into training camp, and I'm not into the off-season stuff. I more or less want to see what my assessment is when I see him play, and then I'll give my opinion on that. Right, wrong, or indifferent. So, anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think. Do a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of What do you guys think the Lions' record's going to be? What do you guys think of the players I rattled off here? What do you think they're going to do in preseason? And what do you guys think they're going to actually do in preseason, too? I want to kind of know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Deuces.